26th. Welcome back. So, all right, so let's go see what's coming up for you guys. I have my two favorite decks back, so now we can make some more rhythm. Back to the moon and general spread now that I have both my decks back. I got them wet in a pool bag, taking them somewhere. Bottled water just went all over them. So it's fun that they came on in a full moon. So here we go. Let's start with your general spread. Eight of Wands. Things are moving quickly, or you want them to. Wow. All right. So we've got a couple cards here for you. We've got the Eight of Wands. Okay. The Eight of Wands is our card for things moving quickly. And if you look at it here, we've got this speed. I always think of the Game of Thrones when the dragons went down the canyon super fast. So maybe I'm feeling as if, either things moved really, really fast and you came to a dead standstill because you've got the Hangman here. Okay. The Hangman and the Hermit, which makes you feel a little bit isolated or feeling silent. The Hangman's our card for, pauses like a seed in the ground. It has to have that privacy in that space. So sometimes it's not always bad, but I see that you're a little overwhelmed. You've got this Ten of Wands, okay? Ten of Wands has got a little guy with his hands over his ears, like I can't take anymore. And it just feels as if there's so much going on that you're pressing against it a little bit and not sure how to do it. Like the Ten of Wands, I always say, feels as if it's like being in a batting cage where you have constant hits and things that are coming one after the other, and you can't pause or think in between, which causes us to feel a little stuck. As I pull the next card, Ten of Wands or Ten of Swords. So Ten of Wands is like our batting cage, and the Ten of Swords is what I call overcommitted. It's the card that means, you're committed to the commitment or you've got too much on your plate. With the Two of Swords in play, this overwhelm has you like, I don't know, confused is one of my favorite words to hate. It's like, I'm confused. You're not confused, you're overwhelmed. When you get overwhelmed, you kind of freeze. You ever have too many things going on your computer when you start it up and you're trying to click and it's like, wait a minute. That's literally how you're feeling. Like you can click something, it'll open, but it takes a few minutes to like respond. That's that overwhelm. Too much data, too much input, and you're feeling like you just want to freeze. But here's the thing. The only way you can unfreeze is to start moving, like water in when it's freezing. It'll stop and it'll freeze and it'll bust pipes. Sometimes the best bet is just to let it flow, which is a huge lesson for emotions, by the way. So you also have a little bit of walking away energy, except yours is the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is very much about being decisive and, shockingly quick with it. The Queen of Swords, if you notice, she has a dead branches behind her. So it's kind of like, what do you do with a dead tree? You either cut it down or walk away. Don't water a dead tree. But I'm seeing both the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords. So the King of Swords, and I remember clearly when I bought this deck the first time, this comment that the author of this deck had written in their little booklet was the King of Swords said, you have won the war, now you must win the peace. And if you think about that for a minute, like war is ugly, think of your divorce or think of, quitting a job. It's ugly. Now you've won the war, but now you must win the peace. So you have work to do yet to reestablish those holes. Like nature hates a void. So we have to fill that with something else or something different. And I'm seeing this Five of Cups, which is a good, strong pragmatism where you're looking at things through a lens of, pragmatic belief, making sure, like, I'm not sure, you're vetting it. And we want proof. We want proof that something we're going to move into is going to be positive or beneficial for us. And sometimes we just don't have that kind of evidence to support, and we have to really walk in faith. So here's the thing. I always say, choose you in every equation. That's it. You don't have to fit anybody or any other thing into that equation. If there's room, then you factor in the other thing, because you can't serve from an empty cup, and you absolutely cannot be more to people if you are not giving more to yourself. So the best gift you can give everyone else is the gifts you give to yourself. Andra, happy birthday. So we also have the Magician in play. So the Magician talks to us about go time. Look at this. And it's interesting that they're right side by side. And again, Instagram, if you come to my YouTube, you can see the picture in picture, and there's a layout where you can see all of these in relationship to one another. But I'm seeing here that you're going to make some decisions pretty quickly. You have the Magician card, and I want you to think of a magician. When you go to see them, they're not a noob, right? They're not practicing. They're not being you know, a novice at this. There's something that they're good at. And so therefore they are coming out for you to see them, and you're going to pay to do so. So what are they going to pay to see you come up with and do? Because it is high time for you to play this card, right? So time, Wheel of Fortune, time moves, action, Magician. So whatever this is about for you, you know, this overwhelm that you have, because you also have this here that Aquarius had, which is so many items. You've got it in so many different ways. Overcommitment, overwhelm, anxiety. And these aren't just anxiety over nothing. These are literally the things that are piled up. If you look at your work and you look at your relationships and then you look at your contracts and commitments, it just feels like there's a lot going on in a lot of different places. So your end result card for the general spread happens to be the Star card, which is hope. So because it's present, it tells you, like, you can't have the presence of one without the other. So if it tells you to look for hope, that's telling you that hope is present. Let's pull some cards for you from the Mystic Dreamer and take a look at your moon reading, Aquarius, and see how you feeling, what you tinkin'. Book your one-on-one, karmaondeck.com. Please like, subscribe, and follow my YouTube channel, Karma on Deck. I would love your presence there. Tell me where you are in the world and how you feel your reading's going. And please share. This is my gift to you, but I would love if you would share it. Okay, here we go, Aquarius moon. I'm an Aquarius moon. Ooh. No, Pisces. I keep saying Aquarius, but I mean Pisces. Sorry. I know who I'm talking to, but I'm looking at my little computer here. I apologize. All right, so the Death card's in play for you. Interestingly enough, the Queen of Wands, even though she is about money, she's wearing a golden dress and she has one of those Persian cats. So this, to me, has always struck me as what things look like. Earthly things. What do these earthly things look like? And so it tells me with the Page of Cups as a new beginning, it might involve love, but you have the Fool card and the Death card. So you have some changes that are coming up, the death being change or a baptism or making something better or leaving it behind. And the Death card is next to the Fool, which means your opportunity. I'd be curious to know how many of you are out there on social media, or I say social media, but I mean dating apps, because we have the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is our card for something being seen or social media. And again, that kind of matches our Magician card. We have the Queen of Pentacles, the Nine of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. So interesting how that lays out, because the Nine of Cups is also a little bit about overwhelm. Remember, there's too many things for me to figure out. And then we have the Pledge. I don't know what to ask for. How do I get what I want if I don't know what I want? And that, how do you get what you want if they don't know what you want, if you can't say what you want? So this is the getting clearer with what you say. Again, 10 of Cups goes with that Queen of Wands. What do things look like? This card right here is my Disneyland card. And when I first was teaching about this card, it means perfection. But there was something within me that was like, there's got to be more to this, because nothing is perfect. There isn't a single card in this deck that means perfect. They have cards that mean ideal or idyllic, but nothing's perfect, because this is the story of the Fool, the story of the Fool's journey and how we travel through life and what we experience. That's the definition of tarot, really, is just the motions of the querent, the person questioning in their life and what moving parts are affecting them. And this card right here is the 10 of Cups, and it means perfection, ideal. So here's the thing to always remember about ideals is they're unattainable. Now, perfection isn't attainable, excellence is. This card right here is the one that talks about, you know, picket fence, Stepford wife. Disneyland is my favorite analogy for this, because it's perfect. However, I always tell people, remember that it's a script, a costume, a fantasy, and a happy ending all the time. Is it attainable? Is it actually this card, right? So sometimes when I get this card and I'll be like, wow, you really feel like he's perfect, don't you? And they go, yeah, I do. Because this card tells us that ideal is out there. Then we have this Eight of Swords where we're trying to figure out if, you know, it's possible, or, you know, so overwhelmed. Again, I'd be inclined to say you're probably not sleeping. You have this Nine of Swords, which is laying up, obsessing about something until you can't sleep. We have the Devil card, wondering if someone's lying to you, and this is a bad habit that you have too, right? So this possibly might be about a relationship. I've got the feeling that there's this relationship energy. I'm not seeing you wanting to walk away from this one, but you have these goals, right? To where you have the Ace of Cups, wanting to set things up perfectly. You have high ideals for things before you give your commitment. And you're very concerned about what things look like. Let's pull a card for you from Mystic Dreamer. Nope, Divination of the Ancients. See, I gotta watch what I say. It's why I only do a couple videos at a time, is because my head gets loopy. Pisces, let's take a look at the Divination of the Ancients for your final card for the week. I Ching, change. That goes right with your death card. So you have some change that's coming up. Maybe, perhaps, you're more concerned about what things look like than that they get done. So sometimes we get so caught up in the how and we forget our why. Like if our why is big enough, it doesn't really matter how we do it as long as it comes into alignment. And sometimes we want things to look perfect, and that's an ideal we can never attain to. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. Hopefully this is useful information for you and you can